Want to know who we are? Let's start here. We do this, that, and we make all of these. We're here to connect and power just about everything around you. We help you save energy. We're not trying to save the world, but we are making the most of our energy and resources and making access to energy and digital basic human rights. Life is on.
What are the limitations of traditional data collection methods like PLCs on the shop floor as we are heading into Industry 4.0?
So I think, Christina, when we look at optimizing data, I think as part of that we need to look at how, of optimizing the actual process to collect the data. Because I think that's a big part of the entire data process, the data capturing process. If you look at the conventional method, you'd have devices in the plant and thousands and thousands and thousands of control cables and wiring running throughout your plant, which on its own was a nightmare to manage. If you look at, and believe it or not, most plants still have the outdated data collection processes of the hardwire. If you look at the modern impact today with industrial control systems and control devices, we have a lot more connected devices, and we have more Wi-Fi or sort of technology-enabled devices, which allow seamless data collection. So I think that's the first part, is to understand how do we optimize collecting data. And once we collect the data, what do we do with it? So, so today, obviously, we looked at how we can use PLCs and we collect the data. But I think a big part of what we see in industry today is that once the data is collected, one of the biggest limitations is the way data is being used. It's still being used more from a visual or graphic representation.
Sanjit, you said it pretty much, half of my answer. But well, actually, on the so that's the soft, well, the product side. If I go on the integration side, so if I speak for ourselves, what we find the limitations is simple. It's complexity. You can always find or actually develop a way to extract data from an old control system or a PLC. And even if there is no control system, as Vic mentioned, if you have an old blow molding machine for a plastic or whatever that is built in the 60s, you can still attach a PLC and then extract data. So there's always a way. Today, the difference, and again, as I mentioned before, today the trick is the user experience, and it can be in terms of programmer or integrator or end user. It has to be easy. It has to be fast and efficient. With the amount of data that will be flowing, you need to have the proper tools to dive into those, or to mine into those data and extract some valuable information. So again, the product that are being on the market today, compared to the previous one, simple. They are easy, they are fast, and they are efficient. They can handle a lot of amount of information.
Yeah, Christina, some of the limitations that we found, I recall not that long ago, a client wanted data extraction from his existing PLC infrastructure. And I would say 50% of the PLCs had RS-232 ports, and that was the only way to get data out. And we tried as hard as possible to say, look, you're going to invest so much money in just trying to optimize getting data out at 9600 baud on a good day with no errors, et cetera, et cetera. Why don't you take that, investment and just upgrade the infrastructure? Today, you could plug in multiple Ethernet cables and have no impact to the PLC scan time, because to service the communication port in the old days, it was one processor and it had to do everything. So, some of the limitations are people still wanting to, no, we've got a PLC. We just want to do this and this and this with data and get data out. And, sometimes you got to be blunt. Says, the money's going into the wrong direction. That's a limitation we've come across.
I just add one thing to consider here is that when you start about limitations of traditional data collection methods, I think one of the biggest limitations we have is sometimes in our own imagination. And what I mean by that is that maybe the best place to get that data is not the PLC. Let's say, for example, if you think about what the operator is trying to do, the operator sees that there's a falling output pressure on a pump and he knows a seal needs to be replaced. When's the last time that thing was maintained? That information is not in the PLC. Do we have any spares in inventory? That information is not in the PLC. When you start looking at ourselves, I think often the biggest limitations we have are just the assumptions that we're going to getting data from the PLC, and that's how we're going to be building all the operator experiences, when many of the things that he or she may need to accomplish may not be there at all.